Welcome back, everybody, to the PCN podcast. This is your host, Cage, alongside CJ and Loco.
What's up?
Hello, hello.
And this is episode 7 of the PCN podcast. And today we're going to be talking about transfers. We're going to be recapping the transfer window, any big moves, and our opinions on it pretty much. So we can get started right away. Starting with Super League, we'll be talking about who we think were studs in the moves, who won, and duds who we think didn't win. So starting with my studs, we're going to work around. I believe my main 3 studs were Dust to Swansea, Vols to Madrid, and Bims to Benfica. CJ, let's hear your 3.
I have Jumanji to Benfica, Tilsinho to Monaco, and Dax Elmo to Celtic.
And Loco?
I have Sef or Maestro to Swansea. I have Thiago or Kimmich to Real Madrid. And then I have Shmimpyy to Orlando.
So we can get started on mine first and then work our way around. So, I mean, Dust to Swansea, is there really anything else we need to say? Team of the year, outside mid, who made a move to striker to Swansea. I think we all know that he just made their attack better, if anything. I think, Loco, you can agree with that?
I will wholeheartedly agree with that. Dust has been an absolute phenomenal player for us at Swansea, and I am glad that we were able to get him because I know he's a highly sought-after player. So when we heard we got the chance that we could get him, I mean, we jumped at it, and we were definitely glad that he signed with us.
Yeah, I mean, CJ, do you think there was a mistake maybe Money made letting a guy of Dust caliber go? I mean, the guy just got Team of the Year, and you allow him to go to a team which was forming a super team. I mean, seeing Swansea, they're in second place right now, but they formed a really solid team, a title contending team. Do you think there was any mistake letting him go?
Of course, he's one of the best players in the league, and he's going to show that time out and time again. And like, if he's going to go anywhere, he's going to go to a team he feels is going to be good. So he knew that Swansea was going to challenge them for the title right away as soon as he signed.
Yeah, and I mean, he's just been balling. He's definitely been a key factor in why they literally have the most goals in Super League. Only by 1, but 29 goals is still a top, and they're up there. So, he's been a key factor for that. Another maybe mistake Money made letting go Vols, letting him go to the top team in Super League right now, Madrid. I obviously was thrilled with this move. I mean, I love playing with Vols. I think he's a really good player, but, Loco, do you think this move hurts Orlando more than it benefits Madrid?
I don't think it's bad on either part. I think it was a mutual agreement that they both wanted to move on with one another. And I think it's beneficial for both the player and the team. I know Orlando has a lot of depth if you look at that roster of people who they can rotate in and do a job. Obviously, it's big shoes to fill because Vols is one of the best players attacking-wise in PCN. But I don't know if it's a bad per se move for Orlando, but it's definitely a great move for Real Madrid to be able, again, same thing with the Dust situation. If you get the chance to grab a player like that, you jump at it the second you can. So I think it's going to benefit Real Madrid tremendously.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. He played his first game and got an assist right away, so only time will tell how good he does. CJ, we can move on to your studs in a sec, but you said Juma to Benfica was a key move. I said Bims to Benfica was a key move. Now, I was saying Bims because he was, I think, a few goals off Golden Boot last season without Eric and Vicious. Obviously, those 3 playing together always help each other out. He's been able to show time and time again that he doesn't need them and he can do it himself. And this move to Benfica, I believe he's their top assister right now, and he's been kind of their creative boot. Do you think Bims is more important to Benfica than Juma? Do you think they'll complement each other? How do you see about this striker partnership?
If you look at the stats, the last time I checked, Bims has 7 assists. Juma has 7 goals. So I'm pretty sure all those assists are to Jumanji. And then Jumanji also has 2 assists on his record with 13 key passes and 21 shots on goal, which is leading all of Super League at the moment.
Yeah, so I mean, it obviously seems like they're good complements to each other, and I guess it was a good move by Chuck to help them out. They just actually have to start banging them in together. But CJ, who are your 2 other studs that you picked?
So I picked Tilsinho. He was a standout from the Euro with Norway, and he signed to Roshi's team, who is Monaco, and he's been performing exquisitely well. In 8 games, he has 1 assist, 6 key passes, 23 interceptions, 38 possessions, 1 and 5 clean sheets, helping them to be one of the top teams that no one expected at the moment.
Yeah, I mean he had a great Euros. He got a team of the group stage, I believe, and team of the tournament. Proved to be one of the best DMs throughout that whole thing. Loco, you're a DM. Seeing his stats and just seeing how he played in the Euros, do you think that this was a good move by Monaco?
I think it's a great move by Monaco. So when I'm thinking of these studs that are coming to mind though, and it's similar to the Benfica point of you guys talking about Juma and Bimst, it's kind of hard for me to think that they're quote unquote studs when you look at the placement of their teams, because I think of the stud as helping the team as a whole, right? And that contributes to your wins and your losses, right? You look at Monaco, recently their form has been very poor as a whole. And then you look at Benfica, who's been in 12th place with, again, very poor form. So, again, you can have one great player, but as a whole team, you need to be able to do well with everyone around you. But I do agree. He as a DM, he's been a very good DM, and he's been showing it consistently, like you said, in the Euros and even early on into this PCN season. I just question the whole team and the people around him if they're able to keep up with one player's form or two players' forms that are on their teams.
I agree. Yeah, I mean that makes perfect sense. He is a really good player. It's just a matter of if those guys around him can build upon him, like you said. CJ, who was your last one?
Dox Elmo from Orlando to Celtic, who's been a key contributor in that back line, as he has 1 goal and an assist and 4 key passes, all at the center back position, with 24 interceptions and 19 possessions, 1 and 3 clean sheets, and only allowing 2 goals this season so far.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Elmo's been a guy who's been around for a while, and
Yeah.
he he's just a really good player. He's a solid utility player as well. He can play anywhere that he needs to, but Sheik's always been known to build good teams, and for him to be able to pick up Elmo, I'm sure is a great help. It's a reason why they're currently third. Yeah, so Loco, can we hear your 3 studs?
Yeah, so I have Maestro or Seth to my team, to Swansea. Statistically speaking, if you look at midfielders, Seth leads in goals with 7 from the cam position, and he also has 3 assists to go with that, on top of a 91% passing percentage from the cam position, which is absurdly high and very effective. And to have a player like that join your team, I can't talk enough about Seth, because he dictates our flow of our play and our whole offense as a whole. He makes sure that when we need to go fast and move that ball up, he gets it there immediately. Or when we need to slow it down and get some possession, he's the man. But he also shows that he can be clinical with the ball at his feet and turn in the box and score. So he would be probably my number 1. Then we have Gimmich or Thiago for you guys. I'm sure, Cage, you can talk a lot about how Thiago has been a help for you guys. And then Shmimpyy from joining Orlando, I feel like is a huge move for them as well.
Yeah, so just to start off, I played with Seth at Benfica last season, and Loco is just right on the money. I do feel like he got a little bit disrespected. He got benched a couple times at Benfica. Reasons being I'm not too sure about. But when he did play, I mean, man, he was a key reason in why we performed so well. A lot of people saw me as like one of the outstanding players there, but I don't know how good I would have done without him. He did exactly what you said he did. It's just a lot of the play style around him didn't fit, and he was trying to dictate the game, and it just the guys around him weren't really following. But him making a move to Swansea with the guys who just know him, so really allowing him to shine, and he's proving it right now. And it's not easy. He has 10 games played and 10 goals. That's not something easy to do, especially in Super League. And I don't think it matters who Swansea's been playing. Yeah, they've had a couple blowout games, but to still perform that good and stay that consistent so far, I mean, Seth's only going to get better and better for Swansea. CJ, what do you think about the move for Thiago to Madrid? I'm in love with it. He's been a super big help, but I don't know if you know Thiago too well, but do you think he's just going to boost this up even more?
I mean, from what I've heard from the community, Thiago is one of those players that is just a difference maker wherever he plays. And I don't know him personally. I've never played with him. I've played against him a couple times when we played against Madrid. But from what I've seen is that he's a very very talented player when it comes to being on the ball, and when it's off the ball too, he's able to get into space, get open for his teammates, provide the width on the outside. Because I think that's where you guys are playing him as an outside mid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just one of the best players out at his position at the moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think a thing that goes unnoticed a lot when you think of team-wise and building a team is that because he just rejoined the league, you're getting him on a $1 million budget, which is insane for the player value that you're getting out of him because he's easily a team of the year, team of the season type player, and you're getting him for 1 million on a one season, which is amazing.
I didn't even think about that. You're 100% right. I mean, he stays in
kinda
the league
bullshit.
it is. I mean, you think of all these guys that have been playing for a while: Dust, Goat, Footy,
I had to
Wani,
chop my
Pep.
arm off to get Dust to come to Swansea.
Yeah, he was like what, a
was
$34 million?
Yeah.
New meta, get banned, come back 2 seasons later.
I mean, Loco's completely right though.
You look at Lazo, right? Lazo 10, who's on your team right now, Cage, for Real Madrid, $41 million as a budget alone as a player. And you're getting a player who's just as similar, if not just as good as Lazo in Thiago for 1 million. That's insane value. You can't beat that.
XL really cheesed the system there, huh? I'm not gonna lie, man. I mean, that's a solid pickup. Thiago's arguably one of the best utility players as well. He started off, his main position CB. He runs the DM position super well. Outside mid, he can run super well. I mean, he even played goalie at one point for VFL. But he really is a good player, and I think it was a great signing by Exile.
I can already hear Isco's tinfoil hat.
Yeah, it was a very unfortunate move for some people who didn't like it, but he ended up in Madrid, and for the cheap value of 1 million, as Loco said, which it just overall was a good move for Madrid. And to finish it off, Shmimpyy, there doesn't even need to be too much to be said. It was a great pickup by money to be able to see a goalie of that talent coming up like that, playing against him. It was insanely hard. The goal Hab scored against him in the Madrid-Orlando match was one, even if he cheated right and did everything, you couldn't save. But he made some big saves in that game. He's been big for Orlando. It's a reason why their defense is doing so good. CJ, Loco, do you guys have anything to say about him?
No, I mean, I put him on my list for studs for a reason. I mean, there's only, I would say, a handful of goalkeepers in PCN that compare to him in their position. And I think the scary thing is, again, like we've said with a lot of these sporting players, is that they have room to grow, right? And that's what's crazy, is that he's just getting better and better the more he keeps playing that position. And I think when all is said and done, he's going to be one of, if not the best goalie in PCN.
CJ?
I've never personally played with Shimpy. I've played against him, but he's a very, very well-known goalie right now. And he's very active in the Discord too sometimes. And he was a part of that Foot Rat team for a little bit. And then I don't know what happened with him, but I guess he just wanted to play in Super League. And he got one of the best teams to reach out to him in Orlando. And now Orlando's got that goalie that they've been looking for years.
I was going to say the same thing, CJ. I think it's also not just the player himself, but I think for Orlando's benefit as well. I mean, they've been rotating. It was like a carousel of goalkeepers for the longest time of who was going to be there. And you lock a guy like Shimpy down for what presumes to be a long time and being a cornerstone for that team. And you're always going to have one of the best goalies in that back line now.
I'd still love to see Peach get his chance.
Yeah, obviously, no disrespect to Peach. Like Loco said, they've had their guys come through. Cyprus was a goalie of once, I think. Alvaro, Peach was there. Strikers came through. It's just they never had a solid guy, and Peach is always there. Obviously, Peach is a great goalie.
Peach
but
is the next
there. He is. I mean, we all love our Peach. I gotta shout out to Peach. But yeah, Shmimpyy, I think it was a really good move by money. That's gonna be something. It's a position that he doesn't need to worry about anymore, and he can just focus on cleaning up any loose ends if there are any. Yeah, those were our studs. Next up, we have our duds of the Super League transfer window. I'll go with mine first and explain them, and then we can move on. So my first one, and I want you all to let me explain after, okay? I don't want anyone to make any, comments or whatever. First, I have Eric to Celtic. locking out to Liverpool, and Lindsay to Ajax. Now, first, to explain myself, Eric to Celtic. This move did kind of fall out because Eric's now managing at Aston Villa. The reason I thought this was a dud move, just a dud by Sheik and by what Celtic did. So I think the story was they were playing in the preseason tournament, and after one game, they failed to score, and then Sheik kind of scrapped them away or told them they were bad. Vicious is still at Celtic now, but I feel like it was they spent a lot of money for
I think
Eric, and I
Vicious
don't
left
think,
for Torino.
yeah, I guess that happened too, and Torino folded. But I just don't think this was the best move by Celtic. This is no means in any way saying Eric was a dud for the team, because I believe Eric to be still one of the best. He's the top goal scorer in PCN. No slander on his name ever. I just think this move was a dud in the case that it just didn't work out for either team or player, and it was maybe a premature decision by Sheik, just because he came into the league new. He didn't know a lot of guys, and he just kind of saw Eric, Vicious, and Bimps as free agents and thought, you know what, these guys are PCN vets, maybe they'll work, and it just didn't fit their style. I mean, Loco, do you agree with me on this? Do you disagree?
I agree with you to a point, but then in Sheik's defense, he could just point to the league table and say, you know what, you could say I made a bad mistake, but I'm sitting here at third place right now, and we're rolling as a team. So Sheik might say that as his defense to say, you know what, it may have been premature, or it could have been a what if scenario if we would have kept him. But I don't think Sheik's complaining when he looks at that Super League table and sees that Celtics in third place and only 6 points behind Real Madrid, who haven't lost a game yet.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Maybe getting rid of Eric helped him. And maybe Eric's gonna thrive back down in League One. Just take a season to relax, get himself situated, and then come back to Super League and absolutely ball out. Another one of mine was locking out, or formerly known as Mamba, to Liverpool. This is not a shot on him or his play style. I know he's a really good player. It's just, where does he fit in that Liverpool front three? Maybe he signed as a backup. I'm not too sure on it, but just the move to me doesn't make sense unless it's for depth purposes. If it is, then it's a great move by Chronic. Just in case Kev, Mamba, or himself can't make it, Mamba would be a good fill. But CJ, do you think this was a good move for them? Good move for him? Bad move?
For how much it cost them, I'm pretty sure the fee was around 19 million or something like that. That's not the money you spend on a backup. I don't know really if that's what his role is, if he's not available, or what's going on, in case they might have done something where one of their forwards is gone for a month or something like that due to family things. It might just be a doomsday thing that they feel like they had an issue with last season, so they're like, okay, we didn't have a backup that was good enough to play anywhere in the forward role, so let's get one that can fill in, that's okay with being a backup for now, but will ultimately be a good player when he comes in.
Yeah,
so I'm not really slating it, but I see what you're saying, that it didn't really make sense, but in the long haul, it could have made perfect sense for them.
Yeah, and we don't really know, but that's just
Yeah.
what we see as of right now.
So not to leak out my duds just yet, but I also have locking out as one of mine listed for Super League because, like we've said, I mean, Cage, you said it. To me, unless, I don't know, I'm not behind the curtains, I don't know what's going on in the inner workings of Liverpool. But to me, it just doesn't make any sense. Like CJ said, for that much money that you're going to spend on a player, it doesn't make sense to have him as a backup who's going to play 5 or 6 games in a season and then just say, okay, you know what? We're not going to recoup that money back.
Yeah, 20 million, 19, 20 million, it is a lot of PCN money. A lot of people think it's not, because we see managers like Chuck Webb, 300-400 million sitting in the bank, so it'd be nothing. But some teams don't have a lot of money, and 20 million is a lot for a player. So maybe someone can give us insight on it. This isn't a shot to Chronic or anyone at the Liverpool camp. This is just the move just doesn't make sense to us. Maybe because we don't know as much. Maybe Mamba or locking out was completely fine with it. We don't know though. My last dud is Lindsay to Ajax, and this one is solely on the fact that no offense to Chile, I don't want to see him get mad at me for this. I think Lindsay's better than that team. I think she can go to a better team. She's a really good CB. I played with her before, and I'm sure if you guys have played with her as well. I think she can go to a better team, maybe a title contender if anything. CJ, do you agree? Disagree with me on that?
I'm not really sure like what's going on with Ajax. I know Lindsay was on Wolves and she wanted to leave for a little bit now. I don't know the reason behind that. I wasn't told, and I don't really think I should be told.
Yeah.
But she wanted to leave, and Dre made her wish come true. She left for. She got sold to Ajax. I don't know the exact amount, but I know that she's. Has she played a game yet?
She went to Leeds from Wolves, and then after Leeds folded, she went to Ajax.
Okay, so yeah. So she probably hasn't played yet because of just timing and the restrictions. But so yeah, that's decisions yet to be met for me because who knows? She starts, she plays amazing, and it looks great for Ajax.
Yeah, there are two sides to this. It's me looking at it from her point of view. Like maybe I'm thinking this isn't as good for her because she's just a better player. But maybe for Chile, this is a great move. You're getting a great CB to help your team if they're in a drought right now and he's trying to turn the season around. And Lindsay's a great pickup. Loco, do you follow the same logic or do you think it's little? Do you have a little different opinion?
I mean, I think, like you said, Lindsay coming. I mean, she was a team of the season center back, and I think it's I don't looking at the table, it's tough because again, I look at the whole team, right? I mean, it's great to have one player here and there, but if they can't be the difference maker on their own, and especially from center back, it's tough, right? So with Ajax, they're in 14th place right now, and they have 16 goals conceded already in this season. So for Lindsay's sake, I'm not trying to sabotage anybody here or anything, but I agree with you, Cage, that I think Lindsay, as the good of a player she is, I feel like she could reach for at least a top 6, top 10 team even in the league. Because she left Wolves to go to Leeds, but Wolves is in 13th right now. Who's above Ajax, who's in 14th. So again, if you wanted to make a transfer for yourself to get to a higher seed and contend for a title or at least top 6, I don't think Ajax is the team to be at or to stay at if you plan on having that as your aspirations.
Yeah, I do agree. But for Chile, I guess it's a good move if he's trying to, like I said, revamp his season and whatnot.
I agree. I mean, again, if you get a player who's coming off of a team of the season at center back, you have the opportunity to bring them in after Leeds folds. Chile's not going to say no, right? I mean, that doesn't make any sense for him.
So picking her up is super solid for him. And but we'll see how it works out for them. Maybe Alex will turn the season around and she could be a big difference maker. CJ, let's hear your duds for Super League.
So I know all these players are really good players, but they just haven't performed statistically for me yet. And my first one is Lettuce from Celtic, Gomez from Benfica, and Bauer 10 from Wolves.
We can talk about that Gomez one for a second because that's one I was thinking about as well. You can list out his stats if you want before we get into anything.
Yeah, Gomez has, according to what I have written down for stats, this is as of before Sunday. Gomez has 8 games played, 0 goals, 0 assists, and 45 possessions lost on the wing. That's, in my opinion, that's just unacceptable from an outside mid because he's averaging 5.5 possessions lost a game, and with no attacking contributions.
Yeah,
that's just a liability.
I don't want to, obviously we're here. We don't want to trash on any player, right? But he came from Tottenham, who was in second at Super League, League One at the time. They were second at one point in League One, and then they kind of fiddled around. I think they had a promotion spot, and they were playing for promotion for Super League and didn't get it. Maybe Chuck took a chance on this guy and saw potential and went for it. The thing with me and what he did was I guess he saw potential in me and loaned me out, and then I came back to Benfica and played, which might have been the good move for him. Maybe it might be too soon for Gomez because I just think to move from League One, even at the top level of League One, to move from there to Super League, it is a different ball game, and so you can't expect a guy to just absolutely ball, or not even ball, just put up consistent performances if he's never been at that level. Yeah, I mean, this isn't anything to trash on him. It's just maybe it would have been a better move to not go to Super League at least this fast. Maybe to play for a lower Super League team or stay in League One for another season. I mean, Loco, do you think that move for the player's sake made sense?
I mean, I understand players wanting to jump up to Super League and the chance they get. I mean, if you told somebody that you were able to start for a Super League team who in Benfica, who's been pretty consistent in the top 6 for the past, I don't know, 3-4 seasons, and you could be a starting player for them, you're not going to say no to the chance. But like you said though, it's going to be tough for a player like that to make that transition. Not everyone's able to make that transition because the flow of the play is faster. And a lot of teams in Super League know how to press and they know how to press well. And that's the big issue. A lot of those possessions lost, I'm sure, is him receiving the ball, him trying to make a turn or something else, or trying to make something happen and it not going well. Because in L2, he was able to have that time where he could take a touch, turn, and pick and choose his pass. In Super League, you have a player right on you as soon as you receive that ball at your feet. And again, some players, the transition might be simpler. Some players, the transition might be 10 times harder. But not saying, again, that he's a bad player in any stretch of the imagination. I'm sure anybody in PCN is able to turn it around. I just think, like you said, with Chuck, maybe he saw something and he took a chance on this player. But with CJ telling me those stats, I didn't know them off the top of my head. Those are pretty alarming stats as to maybe not performing well or maybe just a change in the play style that might need to be had.
Yeah, no, hopefully, maybe this is just a rough patch of games. I'm sure all of us have had a rough patch of games. 8
100%.
is alarming to have 8 rough games, but maybe he could turn it around, or worst case scenario, Chuck can loan him out at the midseason, and he can refine his form and come back the next season for Benfica and ball. Another guy CJ listed was Lettuce for Celtic. Can I hear why he's a dud for you, CJ?
So he has 7 games played. He does have 2 assists, but he also has 25 possessions lost. And in my opinion, being able to hold on to the ball in Super League is what matters the most. Because if you can't hold on to the ball, you're going to be chasing all game.
I mean, I could see that, yeah, but like, it's weird. I agree and disagree with you on this. I do agree on the fact that when you're in Super League, you have to hold the ball a lot. But what I've also learned, with being at Madrid at least, you have guys like Footy and Stone who do average a lot of possessions a lot. Even at striker, they lose the ball a lot. But I think you need to have the creativity, and that does come with a price of losing the ball a lot. You can look at me, like I'm not a skillful guy, right? But I have 50 possessions lost in the 8 games that I have. So
yes, but you have goals and assists. You
that
have
is
goal
that is
contributions.
but then you also have to look at where they are on the table too. Celtic's 3rd right now. So even I think even if I don't have goals and assists, people could, start making an argument like, oh yeah, he's not doing anything for Madrid. On the contrary, you can watch streams and you can say, oh, he made this run that helped. He did that helped. I see what you're saying though, that he might not be contributing as much. I mean, Loco, do you agree with CJ on this, or do you think that Lettuce has anything been a help to Celtic, or?
I mean, Lettuce has been in the league for a long time. He's a veteran player, and I'm sure he's going to be able to change those stats or at least add more offensive stats to his game. But again, like you said, though, possessions lost. We just talked about it, but not every possession lost is counted the same, right? I mean, if I lose the ball as a DM in the middle of the pitch, that's a terrible possession loss for me. But if I lose it in the final third when I'm down the wing or something like that, it's not that big of a deal because my team can at least transition back on defense and help me out. So not every possession lost, I feel like, is counted the same. Like we said with strikers, how many strikers have so many possessions lost, but they're losing it in the final third. They're not losing it in the middle of the field or in their own half. You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
I feel like, again, possessions lost, you can look at it. It depends on, I've never seen Celtic play. I don't watch their streams or anything like that, but it seems to be working for them. So, I mean, if that's how they feel like playing with their outside mids and they want them to be more creative and not worry about their possessions lost or possessions won, then by all means. I mean, it, again, depends how Sheik wants to run that team and how effective to try to hold on to the ball or push it forward whenever they get the chance.
Yeah, try to take on guys. I mean, we can have opposing views on this. I can see the argument for and against it. I personally think this was a good move for Sheik. I've played with Les before, and I've known him to be a guy who likes to take on players. It just matters on the play style of the team. If it fits it and Sheik wants him to take on guys like Loco said, then it's a benefit. If not, then it might not be working. But it is as of right now, so I guess it could be up to debate and to people to interpret. CJ, who is your last one?
Bauer 10. It's not really necessarily him. It's more his Wolves' entire defense as a whole. He has there's 7 games played, 14 goals allowed, and only 1 clean sheet.
Mm-hmm.
And as a team defending, that's not great. Bauer, however, has 26 possessions won and only 9 lost. And as a CB, that's really good, especially playing in a 4-back. So, like,
Are you
it's
saying
weird
it's
with
like
him.
the same case with Lindsay, or
What do you mean by that? Same case as Lindsay?
Like,
So,
do
like-
you think Bauer is a better player than what Wolves has to offer them? Like, do you think Bauer should be on a better team than Wolves?
I think everyone on the Wolves team is better than what they're playing right now.
Okay,
I think
so you think
it's
them
more just motivation to get their ass in gear.
okay, so you think them as a whole they're underachieving, not just
Yes.
Bauer. Okay. But Bauer was the transfer that came in this
Yes.
season that you felt would be the bigger impact.
If you look at the stats itself, like Casey and Bauer, they both have that tandem as a backline has the most goals allowed in Super League,
Yeah.
even more
I mean,
than NYC.
yeah, that which is concerning.
that is rough because NYC has 35, so that's a little.
But
I
they've
mean,
also been rotating constantly.
yeah, and I've known Prince likes to get different guys in and try new stuff, but yeah, I mean, I guess Bauer, like, I think from Prince's side, this is a great move for him and Wolves, because, like, at the time, Bauer's known to be, he's a veteran CB in this league, so picking him up alongside Casey seems like a good thing, but I do see your point. Bauer is a really good CB, and with what they're playing with right now, it's just not what's been expected. Do I think, personally, this is a dud move? Questionable. I think I could argue for both. I personally think for Wolves it's a dub, and for Bauer it's just not what he expected.
I
But
would agree with that.
I think he'll keep trucking on, and he'll look to improve and help Wolves out as much as he can. Loco, who are your other 2 duds? We already talked about locking out.
Yeah, so my number one, I feel like not Lindsay, but the quote unquote partner for Lindsay would be Drax, because I mean we saw what happened. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the Discord today, but he had some choice words for his manager today, saying that he will never play for Ajax again, and that it is a quote unquote dumpster fire, and no one can help that team. So I think obviously that went sour pretty quickly, and I think it's a loan move if I'm not mistaken
You are
from Real
correct on that.
Madrid.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if Exile has plans of recalling him back or what, but again, Drax is a great CB. I mean, he literally just won a Super League with Real Madrid. So, I mean, it's proven that he's a great CB. And you would think that with a backline with Drax and Lindsay, 2 great center backs, that Ajax would be doing a lot better. But I don't know what's going on with them. The internal problems seem to be boiling over into the general Discord. But again, that's a move that when you think of Chili Willy saying you can get Drax and Lindsay on your team in a back line, you're going to jump at the chance, and it seems that it backfired drastically on him.
Yeah, so from what I know, talking with Drex, he said he wanted to be strictly a backup player for Ajax, and I believe Chile did not want that. He believes Drex would be a starter, and I think he wanted Drex to play, and Drex, was like, "Listen, man, I want to be a backup," and I guess that's where some controversy happened. And I think is as a when you think duds and studs, like you say, you focus on team performances, but I also think of what it adds to the team. You got a guy like Drax, a Super League winner, going to your team. If he tells you he's a backup right away, right? I don't think you can depend on the fact that you're gonna get him to play. If someone says they're a backup, they're a backup. It's the same case with Classy and Orlando. I think he'd help their team a lot. Not that they need the help defensively, but Classy literally moved to CB and was a team of the season 2 times. So it's just the same case, so that he said he wanted to be a backup. Now the move, I think itself would have been a win, for Ajax, but for Chile trying to convince Drax to not be a backup and starter, it just fumbles too much, and it didn't work out for them.
I mean, if a player tells you specifically that they want to be a backup, you can't try to twist their arm to try to get them to change their opinions because then, I mean, like you saw, it's going to add to conflict. And then you're already in 14th place. So you're already fighting an uphill battle. The last thing you probably want is internal struggles as a team.
And I think that's what happened to them too. But I see his vision though. If things went to plan and Drax did say, you know what, screw it, I'll play for you and I'll start. It would have been a good. I think it would have been a stud move, him and Lindsay together. That would have been a great. But it's just not how it panned out for them, which is unfortunate. CJ, do you agree with Loco on this being a dud move, stud move
For who?
for for Ajax? We'll say. I mean, I know Drax.
Oh, for Ajax and the
Yeah.
Drax situation?
Yeah.
Drax is a good player, but like sometimes I don't know necessarily if he has an ego or not, but it seemed like that kind of today in the Discord. Sometimes egos can get ahead of people, and a lot of managers don't like that, and they won't handle that well. So I think that's kind of what this case is that Chile wasn't having Drax's attitude, and Chile benched Drax, and Drax got upset about it.
I think Drax wanted to go there as a backup, intentionally. Like I think it was vice versa. Chile wanted Drax to play,
Yeah,
but
to
Drax,
play more. And
yeah,
Drax
and
didn't
Drax was
want
like,
to.
yeah.
That's just
but-
fucking weird.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that situation either. But like I said, the vision for Chile was there. If it worked out, it would have been a great move. But like CJ said, some egos just do collide, and some people are just strict to what they say, and it just did not work out for Ajax. But we can only hope that Chile can sort it out and pick it up and get some new guys in the mid-season transfer window. But that is Super League. We can move on to League One now. I can start with my studs. I got Conflict Itachi to Chelsea, Khan to Sporting, and Stu to Atletico. Now, Conflict Itachi, for some people who don't know, he was a former League One Golden Boot winner. He got Tots, I think, a few seasons back, not season 16, but season 15. He's a very quiet guy. He doesn't talk a lot in the Discord, but he's been known to dominate in League One at least, and League Two. Not saying he wouldn't dominate in Super League, but in these leagues he's been consistent. Regardless of what teams he's been on, who he's been against, he's been known to put in goals. So I personally think this was a great move for Truth and Chelsea because he's still trying to build a team to win League One. Granted, right now they're in 10th place and it's not working out for them as of yet, but I think in the long run, for Itachi at least, this was a good move to just get his name back out there and start playing again, and for Truth to get a good striker because he kind of came in not knowing too many people. So to pick up a guy like that is a win for me. What do you think, Loco?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Conflict has been a great striker for a while now, and I think he's been very under the radar because he's not as active in the Discord as a lot of these people are. And I like you said, he's very soft spoken when he's in parties. I don't think he even talks when he's in parties with people. But again, I mean, his resume has been pretty outstanding. I mean, he's been able to bag goals, and so whenever you need to find goals to get a guy like him, I mean, that's going to give you plenty right there, and especially in L1 where, I mean, people are going to say that the defenses aren't as tight as the Super League defenders are. I'm sure he's going to bag plenty of goals, and it shows that, I mean, already in the table, they've been doing pretty well, Chelsea as a whole, so.
Yeah, I think he'll do nothing but benefit their team. My other one was Conta Sporting. CJ, I don't know if you would disagree on this, but I think with this, especially with Shmimpyy moving, Messi might need another good goalie, and Khan's always been consistent in this league. He's just never had a title-winning type team around him, I believe. And I think joining Sporting for him, it's a great move because he can maybe not ensure a League One title, but it depending on who you believe, Sporting or Bayern will win, which I personally favor Sporting. I think this is a good move for him to get a title, and for Messi Mike to get a new goalie. What do you see this? Do you think it's a good win for Sporting and Khan, or?
I think it's a match made in heaven. Honestly, I love Shannon the Fat Cannon. Khan's amazing. Yes, Sporting lost Shimpy, who's one of the most up and coming goalies in the community, and Khan is a very well known vet that has proven himself time and time and again. And him going down to League One to help Sporting get a title, that's only going to make it more difficult for Bayern, which is exactly what Sporting want to do if they want to win the title. Because right now, it's between them, Bayern, and Sevilla has somehow jumped into that race. But I think it's a great move for Khan and for Messi Mike. to secure that position.
Yeah, it's only going to benefit their team even better. And it really does make them, if insured, if not nearly guaranteed title winner. But we'll see how that goes. But he does help their defense a lot. And they did make another couple moves in their defense with Mighty Cow and a couple of those guys. But Khan coming in there, the goalkeeper position is really important this year. Having a guy like that come in helps a lot. And my last one was Stu to Atletico. Some people might not rate Stu, but Stu's been around for a while, and he's a really good outside mid. And Atletico struggled last season. They were in relegation at one point last season, but they got back out of it. And now I believe they're in the top 6, if I'm not mistaken, if not top 8 in League One. I'm not saying that's due to Stu, but for a guy who wants to come back and play a little bit more, and a team that kind of needed goals after losing elements of God, I saw this as nothing but a win for both of them. Loco, do you think you agree with me, or?
I agree with you 100%. I think Stu, like you said, a player who has been pretty consistent throughout his whole entire PCN career. And like you said, losing elements of God, you're trying to find goals. And I think Stu is the exact answer to what they need to be able to find those goals back for their team.
CJ, do you agree with this?
Stu, in my opinion, is a very good outside mid, and I'm surprised when you said not that many people rate him. Like, that kind of surprises me a lot because he's one of my favorite to play with, even just like for fun, because of how fluid he makes the game and how good on the ball he can actually be. So like him moving to Atletico is nothing but great for both sides because he's gonna provide goal scoring, he's going to provide width, he's going to provide like a presence in the midfield. Like, he's just that good of a player.
Yeah, and I think that's what they needed.
I think the big thing with Stu too is that Stu is just, to me at least, I don't know what you guys have as perspective on him. He's just a genuinely good guy, right?
That's exactly what I was going to say. The vibes he brings is just positivity.
When they go down, if they ever do like go down in a game, Stu's not going to be a player to look at his team and be like, what the hell, guys? He's going to be like, all right, guys, we're one down. Let's get one back. Come on, we're right in this game. Don't worry about it. Like, Stu's that kind of guy that brings good energy and good vibes to that team. And again, just having a good cohesive unit, I mean, Stu's going to help them tremendously to build that.
Yeah, a lot of people think it's just all about how good players are and what they bring, but another big thing is the vibe and the energy. A lot of people talk about that, being in a party, the vibe and all that, and chemistry. And whenever I've played with Stu, and anyone that's played with Stu from what I've heard, he always just brings a good vibe. And I think that's super important to teams, because if you have guys who like bring bad vibes or are toxic, it does crumble teams up. It can start from one and spread. And, having a guy like that, especially with a team that struggled last season, is going to be nothing but beneficial to them. So I think it was a great move by Atletico and Oswald. CJ, let's hear your League One studs.
So this might pain me to say, but I have James Westfall as one of mine, along with
it's your favorite Everton lad, yeah?
And okay, continue. I'm probably stoned, which is one of the best gamer tags I've seen in PCN.
Yeah, so let's go on that. I've played it on Probably Stone before as well. He's one of the no-namers, I'll assume, but he's an up-and-coming outside mid. I played with him on DQ Legends and a couple of BYOTs. He's not a bad player by any means. He's a left back or outside mid. He plays both.
He's an outside back.
Outside back.
Yes, at least that's where he's been playing this season.
Yeah, he also has played outside mid before, but when I played with him, he was a super simple guy. He was just trying to get the flow of the game and understand what to do right. Where did he move exactly?
Valencia.
Yeah, and Valencia's not even doing bad right now. If I'm not mistaken, Valencia's among some of the top teams in the league. Not like top, but like they're up there.
They're in 5th currently.
Yeah, hello. Like that's not bad at all. And for him, it's a great move to be in a good League One side to help himself be better, playing against better competition and winning, and also for Valencia to get up there and push for promotion and all. What are his stats right now, CJ?
So, in 8 games, he has 17 tackles, 21 interceptions, 29 possessions won, 4 clean sheets, and only 5 goals allowed.
Yeah, so that just speaks for itself. He's just a lockdown onside back, and we don't see many of those in this league because everyone runs a 3-back. Some people made fun of Vanquish from going outside mid to outside back. I did as well, but to turn that around and be good there and help your team is super important. And so
Wasn't he
I'm
on your
glad it was
team?
given. No, I've never played with Vanquish before.
I
A
thought he
long
was on
time ago, but
Benfica.
not when he was on Benfica with me. But props to him for doing so.
I know him as the guy with the trippy gloves because they always flash on the
Yeah, I
screens
don't know what
whenever.
he does, man, but those things are trippy. They're just flashing from
Yeah,
like red, white, and yellow, and I'm not gonna lie, I kind of stare at them a couple times.
I don't
Like, I
know.
don't know if
I don't
that's a
know what he
tactic.
does. I don't know how he does it, but I'm like, oh my god, it's the gloves guy. That's what I know him as.
But yeah, I mean, it's a solid move for Valencia to pick up up and coming guy who's helping your team, and they're fifth right now. Loco, CJ mentioned James Westfall. Obviously, he can get to his stats in a sec, but this guy was the Golden Boot winner in League Two, if I'm not mistaken, and it was a big reason why Everton got promoted. Do you think there's a solid move for BVB? Especially losing. I know Broken played attack for them, which Broken was a DM before, but he still helped a lot. So do you think James going over there helps him? I think it's a good win, a good move for
I
both.
I mean, again, if you're Dortmund's manager, and I told you that you can get the Golden Boot winner from L2 to join your L1 team away from a competitor who's going to be joining L1 as well, you would jump at the chance immediately. I mean, I think that's a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree, and it is a good move for James too, because I personally don't know if there's any like issues in the camp between him and Jay Sound for Everton. I would have assumed that he'd stay, but even so, getting out and finding a team like Dortmund, because Dortmund's not a bad team by any means.
No.
They got promoted, so there's a reason why they're there, and I think it's a good place for him to sit in League One and make sure he can do the same thing he did in League One that he did in League Two. CJ,
Well,
what were his stats so far?
that's what I was
So
gonna say. I don't know
Yeah,
what his stats are.
he's actually touched every single league this season, where he got transferred from Everton to Atlanta,
oh,
and then he's sent on loan at the moment to Dortmund
I see.
because he couldn't get a starting spot at Atlanta. But he's played 5 games and he has 5 goals and 3 assists.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. A lot of people think strikers just need goals and that's it, but 8 goal contributions in 5 games, it's awesome. Like, I don't think you can want anything else as a manager. So, props to him, and good looking for the manager to pick up a guy like that, because, like Loco said, you have a chance to pick up the League Two Golden Boot winner from a rival, you snatch at it, and that's exactly what they did.
Well,
And
so
yeah,
I'm sorry, Cage, but I mean, to go off of who was one of your duds, CJ, for Super League? Was it Gomez, right? That was his name?
Gomez, yes,
So this is like almost the reverse of what Gomez
pretty
has
much.
right now in the situation. If you think about it, right?
right.
James Westfall went to a Super League team. He wasn't able to crack the starting 11 or whatever it might be. He wanted to be a starter. He realized, I need to get game time. I need to better myself and get consistent playing. Why not move back down to L1 where I can play my style and get myself better for maybe next season when I can contribute to a starting 11 Super League team. So again,
And
this is like the polar opposite of what CJ was talking about with Gomez.
I think that's what Gomez should have gone about, but some players don't know. Just fortunate enough, he knew what to do, and it's working out for him. Especially 8 goal contributions in 5 games, super solid for him. We can only see more coming from him. I don't think he's a type of player to slow down in any means. CJ, who was your last stud? My bad.
Downey Calf.
And give us a little insight on him, because I honestly know nothing about it.
He's a DM for Sevilla this season, and he had in 8 games he has 3 assists as a DM with 19 interceptions along with 34 possessions won. That's one of the top numbers in League One.
Where did he come from?
I do not have that on at the moment, but I'm pretty sure he was a League One transfer into another League One team.
Then that just kind of speaks for itself. I was talking about last season Scholes, how he came back to Barcelona, and he was absolutely putting up monstrous numbers for them. It was the reason why they were doing so good. And I see Sevilla in top 3, and it matters in League One at least. Loco, you can definitely speak on this too in a second. You need key pieces, and offensively to do good. They made a transfer in Mapes, who was big for them. Which helps their offense, and then they needed someone to help them in their midfield defensively. And obviously, Downey Calf comes in and helps them out a lot. I mean, Loco, you can talk about how key it is being solid defensively in League One.
Well, I mean, that's the thing too, especially like CJ was saying, he's Downey Kev isn't only contributing defensively as a DM, he's able to go forward and contribute moving forward, which it makes you an even more versatile DM, right? Because I mean, I feel like we have a lot of DMs in this league where it's either you're one sided, you either are really good offensively and you play almost like a center mid, or you are really good defensively and you only play as a DM. It's the best DMs in the league are the ones who are able to balance both playing offensively and defensively. And I think Downey Calf, like we said, with those stats, I mean, it's hard to say that he's not doing it on both ends of the field right now for Sevilla. And again, we thought Sporting would run away with L1. Sevilla's in second, right behind them with 2 points. They're Sporting's at 22, Sevilla's at 20. So again, a player who's doing well with his team, building on the system and playing well as a whole.
Yeah, and you need that. You need that, especially in League One. If you want to contest, you're gonna need pieces all around to fit perfectly, and that's it's just a great move to pick up. Loco, let's hear your studs in League One.
So I actually have two of the same studs as you. I had Itachi as well. I had Khan for Sporting because I think whenever you're able to again replace Shmimpyy with a player of Khan's stature, I think that's fantastic. And then my last stud might be a little bit of homerism for me because I've played so long with this guy, but I would say Kanga from Bayern is going to be my stud for L1 because I can't talk enough about Kanga. But I want to hear what you guys think of. Do you think that's a good decision by me to put him as a stud?
It's a great move. I mean, anyone who's played with Kanga knows him. He was a long time Juve player, and he helped them a lot. He was your DM partner, in fact. But playing with Kanga, there are a lot of good DMs in this league, and there are a few that are good only because of the players around him. And some people, I guess, could try to make an argument about that with Kanga, but you play with Kanga anywhere, and he just performs. Not only that, but it's the same case with the Stew. This guy just does not. He's not toxic. He literally will make you smile in every game. If you're losing, he's the guy that you look to just bring on good vibes. And everyone I know loves Kanga. He's a great player, great guy, and I think it was a great move from Kai to bring him in. CJ, I know you're a Bayern alum, so seeing this move must just make you happier.
Yeah, Kanga is a great player in general. I don't know necessarily where he's playing. I think he's actually playing outside mid for Bayern.
I believe he is. He wanted to play outside mid more recently because he likes the freedom of playing outside mid.
Yeah, so I don't know how that necessarily is going to translate to the way Bayern plays, but I'm sure they're going to figure it out because he's a very good player regardless.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around, so...
Yeah, and I that's what I was going to say too. I mean, obviously we talk about Kanga as a person and the amazing, like how good he is with the vibes and everything, like we said, similar to Stu, but he's a player who brings a lot of experience both in Super League and in L1 for this Bayern team, which I think is going to help them tremendously, especially if they're trying to make a push to dethrone Sporting at that top spot.
Yeah, it's a solid pickup by Kai, and I think that signing is just as good as Con for Sporting as it is Kanga to Bayern. So I think it'll just make the title race that much more interesting, and we'll see in the long run which player for that team does better. But both stud moves for each team. Now we move on to our duds for League One. Mine is kind of iffy. Again, this is no disrespect to any of these guys, but I got Bucks to Atletico. Now, I have a theory on what this move was. Maybe it was because he was on contract. I think this is just a theory. I'm not too sure. I believe Evo did this with Atletico, but he went to. I don't know if he's playing, but I think he went to Atletico to write out his contract at Orlando, or just to get that over with. So then the next season, or the seasons after to come, he can move to a team which he wants, because he wasn't getting game time at Orlando. He wasn't playing. I'm not too sure, but if he is playing, it's a great move for Oswald. I mean, Bucks is a really good center back.
Yeah,
like top 10, I'll give it. Maybe even top 3, but that's all personal opinion. But if he's not playing and he's just sitting there, I just for Bucks, I guess this is okay because he could just sit and wait till next season and then move without having to hassle about buying out his contract. But odds have to pay money for this guy, so I don't know if he's gonna get more money when he sells him, or what's gonna go about that. But I mean, Loco, do you agree with me on this?
Yeah, I think this is kind of the same thing with the locking out like we talked about previously with the Super League. It just if the player's not going to play, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Because again, that's money that you're just not gonna recoup as a manager, right? I mean, he's gonna eventually leave and go sign somewhere else, and you just spent that money for nothing. Because I mean, if the player is not going to be willing to play, or I don't know if he has time restraints or time conflicts with game times of the season, but again, but on the other hand, like you said, if he does play, you get a top 10 CB who can be a huge difference maker for Atletico, especially in L1.
Yeah. CJ, do you have the same thoughts with us?
About Bucks,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually played against him, but just because of like what you guys are saying that he's one of the top center backs, for him to go to a team and not play, that must be a personal decision.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily know that situation, but it's probably exactly what you said, where it's just a sign and kind of like ride out the contract to just get out, just become a free agent so you can sign wherever for the next season if you want to play.
Yeah, and I hope that's not the case for Oswald. Like, I hope if anything, like he'll flip his money on him because, like, dude, he's
Yeah.
an expensive guy, and it's just a loss of money in their budget that I don't think they can afford because they did that with Evo as well, and Evo's a very expensive player.
So my question to you guys, right, is how many games do you think Bucks needs to play for him to at least recoup his value, you would say, or make it a worthwhile decision or move for
I mean,
Oswald to
at
sign him?
least more than half the season. I mean, if you get a guy that quality, you need him to play
At
a
least
lot to
15.
establish yourself. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
I would
if he
agree.
plays like 5 games, that just it does nothing for you.
Yeah, no, I
That
agree.
hurts you more than anything.
Yeah.
And that's what I wanted to get at. It's where it's like you have to at least play close to, if not more than half the games to at least feel like you got good value from that transfer.
Yeah. Loco, let's hear your dud for League One.
So I think CJ, you have the same one as me. The window. I know CJ, you pulled up the stats and his stats were quite alarming when
Yeah.
it came to L1.
Yeah. He has 5 games played, 0 goals, and 1 assist, and only 1 shot.
And he's a striker, right? You said?
Yep.
Ooh. I mean,
So that's I said to CJ because he was telling me, right? And I was like, maybe he's playing outside mid. On the website, it had him as a winger. So I'm
He
like,
might have played 1 game there, like his last
yeah.
one, but
So I'm
no,
like,
he's mainly a striker.
that's why. So I was like, you know what? Maybe he's just playing out wide, so he doesn't come in much to score in the box or something like that. Once CJ told me that he was a striker predominantly playing, I was like, that is very concerning from a striker position.
did he make his move to exactly?
He's currently on Atalanta.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, Pink Eye Surprise is a new guy to the league, so I've played with Dwindo a couple times. I know he's a skiller guy. He likes to be very creative, but um, you know, League One, if I don't know what to say. I mean, it's kind of tough if you're a striker and you only got 1 goal contribution in 5 games. Maybe it's because
Regardless, production's just not there.
yeah,
That's it. That's it. I mean, you can't justify it when the production just isn't there. I know we talk about how sometimes stats can be misleading, but in this case, it seems like a big red flag for me if I'm going to be the manager of Atlanta. Because I mean, again, you're bringing in this player. I don't think anyone expects to have stats like that.
yeah, they're sitting in 8th place right now. They only have 10 goals for, so maybe it's not the move Pink I thought it was. Maybe he performed well in the preseason, is just not doing it now. He does only have 5 games played, so maybe he can have a better half. But yeah, as of right now, I don't think that was the best move for them at least. Hopefully he can pick up his form and whatnot. But yeah, I do agree with you guys. That's not the best move. CJ, did you have a different one compared to Loco?
So I don't know necessarily if you can consider him a League One dud, but he's been everywhere, it seems, this season. He's been on 4 teams. It's Capone, the goalie for Man City.
4 teams
Even
already.
the games that he has played, he has 2 games played, 4 goals allowed, 0 clean sheets, and only 3 saves.
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to talk about that. So what exactly does anyone even know what happened with him? I saw that he put this huge post out that he was signing for AC Milan. He was
super
really
hyped for
excited.
it. Next thing you
Oh
know,
yeah.
he ends up
Well, then they bring in
NYC and
Bees.
City. Yeah,
They bring in Bees, and I don't know if Jigsaw maybe trial or played him after he signed and said, you know what, I need someone maybe better in between the sticks for my Super League team, and decided to move off from him or whatever. But again, like you said, to be on 4 teams already and the season's only 10 games played, I mean
it's a
that
little alarming. It is.
yeah, I mean, he seems. I've watched his stream a couple of times because I mean he posts it a lot. So I'm like, you know what? I'll watch it. I think I watched it for like a BYOT final that he was in. He has a face cam and everything. He talks and he seems like a really nice guy. But I just don't know why he isn't able to find a home where he can stay at and be consistent. You know?
Like I remember a couple of seasons back, maybe season 15 or 16, he was on Marseille when they were in League 2. So I guess that was
Yeah.
2 seasons back. And he was having a really good season for them, I remember. And he helped them get promotion to League 1. Um and I feel like he was an up and coming goalie, and then I lost his name a little bit along the way. Then I heard he was signing for Milan. And I'm like, hey, good for this guy. He was able to find a Super League team that can contest. And then I don't know what happened to him or Milan in that situation. It would
I
have been
mean,
a perfect moment for Kaz to be here, but
and I'm sure we know, like, we all have talked to Jigsaw. He's been around, and Jigsaw's a really nice guy. So I don't think that he would have any ill will or ill intent on trying to move him from a team without good reason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think he would just kick the kid to the curb and say, you know what, I'm done with them. I'm sure he probably talked with them, tried to say, hey, you know what? I'll try to move you on to the best team suitable for you. Whatever you would want, let me know. But again, like you said, 4 teams in 10 games. I don't know what's going on there.
yeah, I mean, maybe he'll pick up his form wherever he ended up. You said he ended up at Man City, correct? Or
He did.
yeah, so Man City's sitting at 13th right now, and their defense isn't amazing. They have 14 goals conceded, but they are in 13th, so maybe they can pick up a run of form with him as their new goalie. I know he conceded 4 and 2, but after moving around 4 places, it's hard to like play your game. Being
Yeah, I
around so
mean,
many different defenses.
and a goal conceded for a goalie, it's not just the goalie's fault. Obviously, we know that. I mean,
No.
it's not. I mean, he's been through 4 different backlines. Think about that. I mean, that's not an easy transition for any player. I don't think
Some
anyone.
defenses play different, yeah.
Exactly, 100%. So I don't think it's easy for anybody to say, all right, you're going to get flopped between 4 different teams and sit in the sticks and be ready to keep a clean sheet now.
It's just the fact he's been on 4 different teams in
And
the
I
span
agree
of
with you, CJ.
like 2 weeks.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, only 10 games in, it is a little alarming. I have been through that myself, though. At one point, in League One, a couple seasons back, I had 3 teams played for, but 4 and 10 is alarming. Hopefully, he can sit at Man City and he can stick the season out, ball out, and then move on and continue on. But that was League One. Moving on to League Two, we'll go on with my 2 studs. I think 2 of the best moves was Aquatic Bacon to Watford and Cyrus the Virus to PSG. Now, Bacon, I think we can all agree on this. Bacon's always been a very consistent player. He's been an outside mid. He can play left back, striker. He's playing striker for Watford for one I would know. But Watford's currently sitting in first, if I'm not mistaken, and they're kind of tearing it up in League Two right now. And he is a big part of it. I think it was a good pickup by Doyle, and I know that team is a good group of friends, and Bacon kind of slotted in with them. They're in there to have fun, but they're dominant as they are. 23 goals for, and I know he's a big part of it. So I think it was a good move by Doyle to pick him up. And then my next one was Cyrus the Virus to PSG. A lot of people say people park the bus in League Two, but you still have to have good defenses. Now, PSG is currently sitting at 4th place with 21 points. They do only have 9 goals conceded, which it might seem like a lot, but you got to make sure that your defense is strong in League Two, because some teams will just straight up come in there and batter it. So for Stay High to pick them up, I personally think it was a great move by them.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think what you said with Bacon, I mean, I've known Bacon for a while. I've known since he came through at Galaxy when I think it was Capo who brought him into the league and everything. I'm glad that he's able to find like a home now and be a confident player and finally make a name for himself in this league, And I think, like you said, I mean, it shows Watford top of the league right now, the most goals for, and they're flying. And I think he's a big part and a big contributor for that.
Yeah, and CJ, what do you think about Cyrus going to PSG? You think that was a solid move by Stay High?
Cyrus going to PSG is a very good move because in League Two you need to have that solid backline because of how teams play. They'll play if they score one goal, they're just going to sit on it. They're going to play for the result. Like having that guy in the back is so key to having a team success because it'll just stop you from conceding. It'll give it basically if you concede, you're going to lose. It's how I view League Two. You have to score first.
Yeah, and so to get a guy back there to to pretty much ensure that you can score first and you don't have to worry about conceding. It's just great move by Say Hi, great move for Cyrus as well to go to PSG. Everyone wants to help PSG get back up. We don't want to see Stay High down there anymore. So this might be the season. They're sitting at fourth. Hopefully they can keep pushing on. Loco, let's hear your two studs for League Two.
So my two studs, I know one of them you're going to say is a cop out, but I have PD Pete Town as one of mine because, I mean, again, I know that he has relations to, I think it's his cousin or someone who's running the team. But again, you get a player of that caliber to go down to League Two and help solidify that defense. I mean, that's going to be a rock in that backfield for that team for consistently throughout this entire season. And then I have DN Crazy as well as another one of my picks for L2 for studs.
Yeah, I mean, both of those defenders are key to their teams. PD Pete Town, once was a top quality right back, the best I think in my personal opinion. I haven't played that much with Sleepy, but when I played with PD, he was the best right back in PCN until he kind of decided to take a year off. Then he came back and started playing some OCB. He made the shift, and the move to Leipzig is just. It's good for him to start rekindling his career again.
And I believe
I
believe he's playing center back too at
he is.
Leipzig. Yeah, I don't think he's playing outside back anymore. So I think it's good for him to get that position change. I know you said he's very versatile in that backfield for playing outside back or CB, whatever it might be. But again, if you're Leipzig and you were told that you can have a player of PDP Town's caliber to come back and play for your back line, I don't think anyone's going to be turning that that request down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then DN Crazy to Watford. There's not even too much to say. They have 3 goals allowed in 10 games, so he's obviously a good CB, and to be a part of that team to help out is just no words really need to be described. Another smart move by Doyle to pick up and help his team to ensure a League 2 title. CJ, let's hear your 2 studs for League 2.
So I have CMDL to Toronto and Buck 7169.
So let me hear about Buck 7169 because I don't think me or Loco are too known about with that name.
He's another guy that went to Toronto. He's a DM, and in 8 games played, he has 1 assist, 1 key pass, 14 tackles, and he leads League 2 in interceptions and is tied on possessions won with 42.
I mean, those numbers are super solid, and Didi Soul with Toronto, he's been there for a while. I mean, I feel like he's always needed some players to just boost them up so he can have that season to get into League One. And they're sitting in second right now, only 3 points. They're tied for second with Lyon, but 3 points behind. This guy, I'm sure, Bucks is a key reason why they're sitting in second right now. So it's a good move, good pickup by Didi at least to help his team finally start getting some wins.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. And then, I mean, to go off of your other pick, which is CMDL, I mean, I believe the move is a loan, right, from LA Galaxy.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's even better, right? To get a player like that who makes an immediate impact on a discounted fee, probably, because I don't think they're paying the full 9.3 million for him, right? So,
Probably
I mean,
not.
to get a player like that who's going to make an immediate impact on your team and help you defensively, I think is a great move.
I mean, looking at CMDL too, he made the transition to striker, and he has 7 goals and 4 assists.
Oh, so he's playing
8
striker.
games. Yeah, he's playing striker. He's not even an outside mid. He's playing a different position, and he's balling out.
Yeah, and people might try to make an argument that, League 2, it's easy to score. But, like we were literally saying before, teams will bust up in this league. So to put away goals is hard. He made I always try to go from outside mid to striker and play BYOTs with my friends, whatever. It's difficult, dude. Like I'm trash
Yeah.
at striker. I don't know how some people do it. One, to hold up the ball, like there are different aspects, holding up the ball, finishing the ball, vision. There's a lot of things that go into it, especially in 11s too. To be able to do that, I mean, it, it's a good move for DD because outside mid or striker, CMDL would have performed there anyway. So the fact that he's balling out as he is for DD, I think is just more than he could ever ask for.
Yeah, I think I like you said. I mean, I think whatever he produces on the pitch is only going to be to Toronto's benefit because you're looking at it. It's like it's what's the saying? It's called stepping in shit, right? You didn't expect this turnout, and you're already getting it in bundles of goals from CMDL. And again, I think a lot of people have this stigma in PCN. I know a lot of people still believe that when you're good at one position, you're stuck at that position. But I mean, you have these outliers who've been able to change positions. You look at people like Classy and even Vols, right, from changing
Footy's
positions.
probably the best example because
Yeah,
center
in
striker is
footy.
such a big difference.
Yeah.
Exactly. You give these players a chance at a different position, and it could be a complete 180 for some of these players' careers in PCN.
And I guess that's exactly what he needed to just pick himself up and get his name back out there again. And it's just like we said, a great move for DD to get his team up and out of League Two finally. But that will wrap up our transfer talk. This podcast will be a little bit longer than normal ones because we're kind of fitting in two things in one. This first part was transfer talk. Second part is something that a few people have been waiting for a while now, and it is ones to watch. We will start with League Two. And once to watch, it might be a little bit late, but we feel like these guys are five of the most, not best players, but players to have a good season that might exceed expectations there. A few we already talked about, but we'll start with one and kind of move on and let you guys know what we think on them. So first we got Kerr, 9, going to Watford. He's been a very consistent player in the league, and he's an experienced Super League player. Some people say that to be an experienced Super League player, you need to ball out in all and get team of the seasons and all. And I don't think that's the case. Just having the experience in Super League is a big thing because, like we discussed with Gomez, the play style is different. Teams press. You gotta feel the vibe off for it, and he's been there and he's been able to endure it and do good. So moving down to League One, he's probably going to be one of the players to watch for in League Two. One of the players of the season. CJ, do you agree with me on this?
About Kerr? Yeah, absolutely. He's a very good outside mid. He's a very skillful one too. So in League Two, he's going to be facing teams that are going to be sitting in front of him, and he's just going to have to break them down along with the help of Watford, which is a very good team for that division. So I'm not surprised that he's going to be. He's on our list for being one of the most well watched players to watch in League Two this season because he's going to do well.
Yeah,
go ahead,
I think to go off your point, Cage, especially with the experience I think he brings to that Watford team. I mean, like we said, I know Watford has that, again, the perception that people are going to park the bus and everything like that. But a player like Kerr who's able to create for the offense, that's what it's going to take for some games for Watford to get a goal, right? I mean, those 1-0s that you scrape by against a team when you have 60% possession, Kerr's that type of player who can create and score that goal for Watford and get them over the hump.
And that's what they're going to need, especially in League Two. But making the signing is just huge for Doyle and huge for Watford because guys like this coming, we often kind of tease that super teams forming in League Two, but this Watford team may not seem like a super team with names and on paper, but these guys are all talented players, and picking up a guy like him to help them out with his experience, he can easily help and lead in play styles and how to just absolutely dominate these teams. Because if you apply Super League level pressure in League Two, you'll slap to kids, and that's exactly what he can help with. Our next guy is Muffin Man. He makes a move to Betis, and if I'm not mistaken, he was on Hearts.
Yes, he was.
And I don't know too much about him, but what I do know is that he was a super solid player then, and making a move to Betis now, he balled out at Hearts before. So coming back here and just doing what he has to do, it's a great move for Betis. CJ, you obviously know more than me about him, so you can go ahead and speak.
Muffin is a very underrated DM in my opinion, and his best thing is getting the ball back, which is going to be most vital in a division like League Two, because when you can do that consistently, it's it's amazing for a DM that can just pressure and just win it back and then be able to play it off his feet perfectly. It's just going to be exactly what Batiste needs to keep to if they want to get to promotion.
Loco?
Yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. I mean, when you have a DM who can dominate the play and dictate the flow of the play, especially for your team like Batiste, I think that's crucial. And in League Two, when you're able to win the ball back consistently for your team, obviously a recipe for success. The less time the opposing team has time on the ball, the better for you, right? And I think Muffin Man is going to definitely be able to produce that for Real Batiste.
Yeah, that's why we think he's the ones to watch. I mean, a lot of people haven't heard of him, or if they have, they don't rate him as much. And, making this move back down here is just a perfect place for him to just get his name back out, like we said, for a couple players. And it's a good move for him. And he is going to be one to watch. I think he'll dominate there, and he'll be able to get back to the way he was with Hearts in that dominant squad. Next up, like we said, we have PD. We don't have to go too much about him, but he did make the move from right back to CB, going down on Leipzig, and we think he's going to be one to watch just in the fact that he was dominant then at right back. He's going down to League Two to start a CB tear, and he's a good player, and I personally think that he's going to be able to figure out the CB role and just start dominating. Loco, do you see the same?
Yeah, I mean, I had him on my list. I mean, I don't think I need to go into too much detail. I mean, we already know that he's a great player, and I don't foresee him having any hiccups in League Two with performing well. So I think that's why he's on here for our ones to watch.
CJ?
For PD?
Yeah.
Yeah, PD is going to be exciting to watch because it's going to be his first real. Is it his first real season of actually playing fully center back?
Yeah, fully center back, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how that fares because if he is able to make the switch, he could find more relevancy up in higher leagues because of the 3-5-2 meta.
Yeah, so he's definitely going to be one to watch in League Two to see how well he performs, and I do think he will perform well, especially with that team around him. So he's going to be one to keep an eye on. Another CB that we brought up before, but is a move that we think is of relevancy, is DN Crazy. Yes, he was a part of our stud moves, but just him on his own, he's a really good center back that a lot of people don't take into account. He's not as active in the Discord, but from what I've seen from him, he's a damn good player. And, there's a reason why Watford only has 3 goals conceded. There are a lot of good attacks in League Two right now, ranging from Toronto, as we were talking about with CMDL, even with Leipzig. Leipzig has Yoshi and Abdeen. I don't know if the two teams have faced yet, but those two of those attackers are two of the best attackers in Super League and League One.
Yeah.
So having a guy like him being there to help shut down guys like that, I mean, there's not much that needs to be said about what his performances will bring to Watford.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, Cage, I mean, it's no secret when you see this whole ones to watch in our selection of who we have for our ones to watch that we try to have a mix of up and coming players and then also proven known commodities in PCN. And I think Crazy goes on that side of up and coming, right? I mean, like you said, he's not very active in the Discord. He doesn't talk a lot. So for a lot of people, I know in PCN, it might be names basis, right? But I mean, when you're putting in performances like that, like he is right now with Watford, you're going to make a name for yourself regardless. And if he keeps on with this tear that he has, he's definitely going to be a center back that's going to be known for PCN for quite some time.
CJ, you got any thoughts on him?
DN Crazy, he came from Wolves and I think he's on loan to Watford right now.
Yes.
Yeah, DN Crazy is a very good center back actually, and I didn't have the pleasure of playing with him when he was at Wolves for a little bit, but I wish I did, and I wish I could say more on the topic, but I haven't really seen him play before, but I'm assuming he's a very good player. And him just going to Watford is just going to prove that he's of that talent and that he will eventually get to move away to a higher division, which would be awesome for his career.
Yeah, it's the best place for him to develop and, ensure that, yes, I know how good I am, and now I can move on to the better leagues. And a guy who matches this, it's kind of a reverse type deal. SC Bass. Now, for some of you guys who don't know, this guy was part of the season 15 Tottenham team that got relegated, but he was,
Controversial.
yeah, but he
Yeah.
was, he was arguably one of the best CVs at that time. You know, they were getting slaughtered, and some people might say he stat padded, but he had an unreal season for Tottenham. You know, like a relegation team that
Yeah,
got
no.
conceded a lot,
His
but
stats were insane.
they were crazy. And so, you know, he kind of, that was in season 15. Season 16, he kind of, not really a lot of people heard from him or what was going on. But then, you know, this move to back down to League Two with Toronto, again, a move for Didi Sol that just, like we said, we need defense that is ensured to be good. And so, you know, is a proven player, but he just needed another shot to really show that, hey, that wasn't a fluke. It wasn't because we were just getting destroyed on the defense a bunch. I'm here to show you guys that I'm good, and I think he's gonna prove it down here in League Two. What do you say, Loco?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that whole controversy with like the team of the season, I was kind of on the fence about how he had a team of the season. I think some of the stats and obviously the position of the team and everything of that sort, but I think that gave him an added chip on his shoulder. And I think he has something to prove to this league and especially to the people who doubted him to say, you know what? You might think that because I was on a team that conceded 60 something goals or whatever it might have been, I can do this. I can be a good center back on my standalone self. And I think that he's going to prove that with Toronto. I mean, he has been proving it so far, and I foresee him to continue to do that.
CJ?
Do you guys remember that World Cup where the last World Cup that we did where Portuguese Prince had Portugal and he signed a bunch of Portuguese guys to play?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bass was one of those guys. Bass is a very, very good center back. He's one of the most unknown, at least, I mean, kind of unknown because he has a team this season in Super League, but he doesn't talk in the Discord really. He's still active though. If like you want to talk to him in like DMs and stuff like that, he'll respond. But he's a very good center back, and there's no reason why he doesn't get a League Two team this season, especially playing down in League Two for a team that's actually fighting for promotion right now.
Yeah, he's only gonna help benefit Didi Sol, and I think this was like the players he got were kind of the players he was looking for to be like, okay, this is the run. And I think Seabass is gonna do nothing but help ensure promotion for them. And those were our League Two ones to watch. All five of those players, you know, we are confident that they will perform and they will help their sides as best as they can. Moving on to League One, we do have two familiar names, James Westfall and Conflict Itachi. You know, we already touched base on them, so we don't have to go too much into them, but, you know, two proven goal scorers in League Two for James and in League One for Conflict Itachi. You know, and again, for two teams that are battling to get into the playoff spot. So I do think both of the guys, you know, considering one's a League Two Golden Boot winner and one's a former League One Golden Boot winner, both already performing to high standards. There's only the roof is the limit for them. You know, they can exceed it and absolutely perform. But one guy here that we haven't touched up on is Mapes. Mapes, you know, from what we knew was a shoo-in to go to United, boom, ends up at Sevilla. And, you know, some people think when you go from Super League to League One, it's like a moment where like, okay, yeah, I'm washed. It's not going to happen. And I think Mapes has just proven the opposite. You know, he's been helping Sevilla and, you know, they're in second place right now. And Mapes is not a bad player by any means. So a player of his Super League proven quality to go down there and help a team like Sevilla, he's only going to ball out there and help him even more. And I think he's definitely going to be a player to watch out for. And I think he can definitely grab a League One tots. Loco, your thoughts on him?
Yeah, no, I mean, when I saw that transfer go through, when Mapes left United and to join Sevilla, I thought it was a steal for Sevilla. I mean, you get a player like that from a Super League team. I mean, you can't complain about that transfer in the slightest. And I know Sevilla is doing well in the league, and he's proving already why he deserved that transfer fee. And I think, like you said, with Mapes, I think going down to L1, a lot of people think it's like, oh, your career's over or you're washed, you're not as good. I think it's the complete opposite. He's revitalizing his career, and he's proving why he is a great cam in this league.
CJ?
Mapes can play anywhere in the attack. I don't know if he can play striker, but he can play anywhere in the midfield except for DM. So basically, attacking mid, outside mid, and I've seen him do it time and time again. I don't think should be in League One because he's that good of a player, but he's there right now. He's gonna show why he's a Super League talent, and surely enough, he'll be back in Super League next season. No doubt in my mind.
Yeah, maybe this, sometimes a player just needs to go somewhere and just be like, hey, listen, guys, I'm good, and I'm going to show you why. And I think he's going to do this here at Sevilla. He's going to let everyone know that he's still as good as he was and that he's a serious talent. So he's definitely going to be one guy to keep your eye on back in League One. Another cam in League One that is just, there's not even that much to be said about Tails going to Sporting. He made the move from Madrid to Sporting, and he's a part of the Foot Rats collection, and there's just so much to be said, but some that just doesn't need to be said at all. Look at his Euro record. Look at his late night record. Like, the guy is just absolutely performing at cam. He's just racking up assists, and he's just, with the guys around him, it's clockwork. And Tails already is performing. He's leading the league, if I'm not mistaken, in assists in League One. He's a shoo-in for a tots. I know for a fact that if Sporting do end up winning that League One title, that he's going to be a very key factor in it. Loco?
No, yeah, I think, like you said, everything was right on the money with Tails. I mean, you can say so many positives about Tails. I think he loves the freedom at being at cam. I think he enjoys it because he's a very skillful player, but he also knows when to pick and choose the passes and when to find the open players. As we said, you spoke about his assist total, but I think Sporting as a whole, he's going to be that driving factor. He's the motor to that entire offense. They're only going to get as far as Tails is able to take them, because without Tails making that transition from defense to offense for this Sporting team, Davids and RVP don't get as many goals as they would. And I think, like you said, already he's showing why we have him on here, and I think he's going to prove to everybody that he is, again, a reason to why Sporting is doing so well.
CJ?
Tails is one of the best cams in the league, hands down, and he's in Super League, I think, or not Super League, League One. He's a Super League talent that needs to be up there, and they're going to be up there for sure next season. Whether they're League One title winners or just promotion winners, that's yet to be seen. But he's gonna lead that league in assists. He's probably gonna lead in key passes, and he's going to be a team this season. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, and some people might not know. He my bad to cut you off, Loco. This
No,
guy,
you're good.
he was the first of those foot rat guys to come into the league and play. He was the first one to test the waters. He got
played for
signed to Madrid right away, and he performed for them. It's not that he did bad. He didn't play that much, but he did good when he did play. And then, getting that experience right off the bat, it just, set him up for success. And, I don't think he's only going to go up from here. Loco, what were you saying?
Yeah, so I was going to say how he's a proven Super League talent already going down to L1. But I like the fact that Tails is
I didn't
building...
say proven. I think I just said he is a Super League talent. Like,
Okay, well,
he has that talent level.
I even think he'd be proven in Super League already. I think he's shown it with Real Madrid. But I think going down and actually building something with Sporting, I respect that a lot. I know a lot of people are like, well, Sporting could have moved up if they wanted to. But I think giving them that extra season to build on chem and actually build a team together and stay together, I think is very important. And Tails is a key factor in that.
Yeah, a lot of people were kind of giving a lot of those guys shit for staying in League One. They're saying, oh, if you're so good, then why don't you go to Super League? These guys, as cocky as they are and as obnoxious as they can be in the Discord, they're smart. They know that, hey, we're going to stay here. We're going to build. We're going to get used to this game. We're going to get used to clubs, build here, and then move to Super League and show you what we can do. Tails is just going to be one of the main reasons why that they do get up to Super League and they do perform, because I know for a fact that they will. Another guy that made the move to Sporting, that is friends with these guys, a close friend of mine, is Slays. He made the move from Madrid to Sporting. We thought, him and Exile decided that it would be best if he's not going to get a starting spot here, he'd go somewhere else, and Sporting was just the perfect home for him. with a guy like Slays there, a lot of people don't rate Slays, which is I don't understand it. Slays is such a good player, whether it's CB, DM, anywhere in the defense arms. And again, we were talking about earlier about what Sporting needs because their attack is set pretty much. You got those guys in front. Yeah, you got Asematic, if I believe, at your outside mid and Messi Mike. That area is set. But what they needed to focus on was their defense, and they needed to reinforce that. Picking up Slays is just, to me, it guarantees a title for them. I really do think it does. Slays is known to be a solid DM, and if any, he's only going to help them. Loco?
Yeah, no, and I think, I mean, even to your point of the defense, I mean, we could have put Large Mighty Cow here as well, but I think having Slays back into the league, I think it's great. Slays is an awesome guy, and like you said, last season, the defense was quote unquote the crutch or the killing blow into them not getting into their L1 playoffs for Sporting. If you ask a bunch of the Sporting guys, they said, you know what, our defense let us down when we needed it most. And they went out this transfer window and they made sure to solidify that back line and that defense. With getting a player like Slays, that's going to contribute to that. And I'm, like you said, I'm sure that Sporting is going to perform well in League One, and they already are. And I presume that they're going to keep rolling.
CJ?
Slays, I've never played with. I've played against him several times, though, and I've seen him as a center back, and he's one of the best outside center backs I've seen as of recent. And I want, are they playing him as a center back or a DM? Because I
believe they're using him as a DM.
They are using him as a DM, yes.
So seeing how he plays as an outside center back with how confident he is on the ball, I can only imagine how good he is as a DM. And I think that'll translate them into being, obviously, they're going to be title contenders regardless if they had him or not. Just, I think it does, in your opinion, the way you said that it does secure them the title, I think it gives them more leeway towards it. I'm still not counting out Bayern.
Yeah,
I still have faith in my guys.
I just, personal opinion, I do think Sporting will take it now. But, as like we were saying, Slays, he does help them immensely, though, in that defensive department. Especially in League One, you need the balance of a great offense, but a great defense as well, and he brings that. That was our League One ones to watch, though. All 5 of these guys easily could have been swapped in with a couple other guys. Like we said, Mighty Cow could have easily slotted in there at that role where Slays was, just on the defense. But this is what we decided to go with. And lastly, we do have our Super League ones to watch. Dust, we already talked about and touched base on. I don't think there's too much that's needed to be said. He's already performing for Swansea and helping them as they're in second place right now. So there's, like I've been saying for a few of these guys, he's gonna reach his peak, if not even higher. One guy I wanted to speak on is Elite Monster. Now, a lot of people might not know about this guy, and some people might not even rate him right now for after the games he's played for Monaco. He is a part of those DQ Legends guy. He was on PCN Iceland. He signed for Benfica and moved on loan to Monaco, and I played with this guy a bunch of times, and he is one of those people where it could be the Gomez situation where you need time to build and play more 11s and leagues. But, he came to Monaco and right away started banging goals. For the first 5 games, he had 6 goals, which for a guy who's just coming into 11s and playing, that's not easy in Super League as well. So, I'm really excited to see what he can do for Monaco. I'm hoping that he can perform well for Roshi and he can ball out because he already has, performed. So, we'll only see. Loco, what do you have to say about this move?
We were talking about, you said that he hit a little bit of a rough patch with goals coming in these past couple of game days, but they've played some good opposition in that schedule. If you look at their schedule, it was pretty, quote unquote, easy early on, but still to come into the league and to bang a lot of goals in early on, that's great for a player's confidence. You're always going to have these lull periods as a striker where you're not going to be able to find goals as consistently. It's a matter of if you're willing to pick it up and get back on that goal scoring streak. And I think, like you said, he's a very talented player, and I think he has enough in him to get back onto that goal scoring streak. And I foresee him being a huge focal point for this Monaco team. I think he scores, the more he scores, it's only going to bring Monaco. He's going to be the point of Monaco making that top 6, I think. If he performs well. If he doesn't perform well, I think they drop down to maybe even top 10, top 12.
Yeah, I do see that, but it is a key on what he does, but from what he's, scoring goals is never easy. So the fact that he's able to do that as a first timer coming here shows a lot of promise. CJ, do you have anything to say about him?
I mean, like I've said a bunch of times, I haven't played with him, but I've seen him play, and he actually scored a nice goal against us when in our loss to Monaco. But it was kind of bundly, but he knew it was coming and he was ready for it. But yeah, he's going to be their main benefactor. If he's scoring, they're winning. If he's not scoring, they're not going to be winning. That's how I see it. And he's been productive so far this season, as he's their top goal scorer, obviously. But regardless, he's on loan from Benfica too. So Chuck made a great decision there in bringing him in and then loaning him out and then watching it. I'm assuming he's watching to see how he progresses and looking into probably bringing him back next season to pair up with Jumanji and Bimst.
Well, again, like we said, it's a player who may not have been able to crack into a Benfica starting 11, but is able to go on loan, get consistent playing time and experience. And then maybe, like you said, next season, Monster comes back and he performs well and he's able to crack into that Benfica starting 11.
Yeah, I mean, his limit, is unseeable. For a new guy coming into PCN, starting in Super League, and being able to perform,
the ceiling is immense for him. Like his potential that he could possibly get to, if he consistently is able to score goals like this, he could be a great signing for Chuck.
Yeah, my opinion on him might be a little bit over the top, and it might be stupid, but I do see some Kessie in him. Obviously, that's a long shot away because Kessie is arguably the best striker in PCN. No one will ever touch what he did. But I've played with Kessie before, and Elite obviously has his kinks because he hasn't played 11s a lot. But just there are some flashes where I see Kessie's playstyle in him. Whether he reaches that level, I don't know, because that Kessie level is unmatched, I think. I don't know if anyone can ever get to where he is. But, getting near that, at least as a newcomer, I think it's possible, and I hope the best for him. Another Monaco move is Delcinho. This guy, he had a great Euros tournament. We talked about it before with your picks, Loco.
We already,
So I think, that's what Roshi needed. He needed solid players to come around him. And, Thales, he did his job at Euros. He showed to everyone, like, hey, I'm a top DM here. I can play against the best. And, moving to Monaco in Super League, he can just ball out there and he can show us what he can do. So, hopefully he can live up to expectations that we have. Another move is Bacardo to Celtic. CJ, I know you personally had a pick on this one if you want to go on him.
So he is a up-and-coming center back. He's already played with some of the very best in the league, and they've seen what he can do. Unfortunately, according to him, I spoke to him earlier today, he said that he played the last 3 games with them and then found out on Sunday he was being benched for whatever reason. So, and he seems like he's unhappy with that decision, so I'm sure he could find another place to play, like, right away, because he's that good of a center back.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard too much about him, but I have seen him play. When Chelsea was running trials, I was just hopping in with Truth just to play. And, this guy was doing his job. He was defending when he needed to, took the ball when he needed to. He was reading the play really well. And I have never heard of this guy. And, he was performing well, especially, like, super good for playing with Chelsea. So I thought he was going to stay there and it would have been a great pickup for Truth. But no, he made a move to Super League and he's performing well. It's a shame that Sheik's considering benching him because I think he's a promising CB, but maybe Sheik loans him out. He goes somewhere else in Super League or League One and, he comes back and just performs. Loco?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, like we said, for some of these selections, we tried to find up-and-coming players in this league who can reach that full potential like we talked about. And I think Ricardo could potentially do that. I didn't know about him getting benched or what have you, but
I just found that out today.
Okay, so I mean, if he does end up moving, I'm assuming he's going to move because he's a good enough player to be starting. He shouldn't be benching, or he shouldn't be sitting on a bench for a team regardless. So even if he makes a move, I'm sure wherever he may end up, or if he stays at Celtic, he's going to make an impact. And like we said with a lot of these players, the sky's the limit with potential for Picardo.
Yeah. And hopefully, whatever the situation's going on, that he does indeed get his spot back and he performs, because this guy, he's the player to watch out for. I'll tell you that. And our last one in Super League is Shmimpyy, and yeah, we already went over him, but I think we do have to reiterate the fact that this guy started off in Burnley, right, in League 2. Then he made a move to Sporting in League 1, and then he made a move to Orlando in Super League. Like, you have to look at that come up, right? Like, a lot of guys in this league, like, look at Goatless. He started off in League 2 and made a move right away to Atlanta, and he, performed with some of the best. But you have to show to people that, yes, I'm good. And especially at goalie, it's hard because a lot of the goals sometimes aren't in your hands, right? Sometimes a defender in front of you screws up and boom, what do you do? Like, it's a one-on-one. Like, you can't do anything. But he's proven in League 2 that he can handle his own and save a team. League 1, he can handle his own and save a team. And now here he is with Orlando performing well. And that's the biggest thing. The fact that he can come here and perform well against some of the best strikers in the league, I mean, it only tells you, like, how good this guy's going to be and how good he can become. I mean, Loco, do you have any thoughts on him?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's like the epitome of the American dream for the PCN, like up and coming players, right? For L2 and even L1, right? He did it the right way. He went through each league, was able to build some reputation by playing well, having good performances, and now he's on one of the top teams in Super League, and I assume he's going to be there for a long, long time. So this gives you any of these L2 or L1 players hope that you put in good performances, you're going to become noticed in this league. And when you become noticed, you're going to find yourself on some of these really good teams in Super League and contending for titles.
CJ?
Shimpy, I mean, even looking at the move itself, Orlando filled probably the biggest need on the team. And I think in alone, that's just going to propel him to be better because he's guaranteed their number one. Like, he has all the confidence in the world behind him that they trust him enough to be that guy for the future.
And it's going to be important too, but money seeing this guy out, and the fact that a lot of guys in Super League, especially people like Money, when you're a guy like Money, you know who's good and who's not, right? You don't really take that many chances on people. Like, we've seen Chuck do it. He took a chance on me. He took a chance on Gomez. Other managers take chances. Money, you don't really see that. He knows who's good and who's not. So the fact that he's able to recognize how good this guy is, and Shmimpyy is already performing to expectations and more. So it's going to be exciting to see what he can do for Orlando. But that was our Super League ones to watch. Here is the whole ones to watch if you guys want to recap about it. We can go over our favorite picks. If I had to have a few of my favorite ones to watch, and I think that will exceed expectations. For me, I'll say it's Elite, Dust, Tails, and Kerr. If I have to be honest, I think those guys they're gonna ball out. I think they're gonna absolutely kill their leagues that they're in right now, and they're just gonna perform to over expectations. Loco, if you have to pick a few.
I mean, if I'm gonna pick a biased one, it's gonna be Dust. But I mean, besides that, I would say definitely Seabass. I think, like I said before, he has a chip on his shoulder. He has something to prove. And I'm sure he's going to prove it to this league why he was a team of the season center back in season 15. James Westfall, I think, as well. And then my pick for probably Super League would be Picardo. I think, like we said, if he gets that move and he's able to be the guy for a team, he can prove why he might be potentially one of the better center backs in this league.
100%. And CJ, yours?
Personally, I'd love to see Muffin and Itachi because those are two Hearts legends right there. And Mapes is also a good friend of mine. And for Super League, I want to see Talasinho. I want to see someone take over that DM spot from CM9, from Lake. I want to see another one of those guys emerge. That would be insane.
Yeah, and that's a big ass. CM9, of course, he rose from Chelsea. He was a manager in League 1, and he didn't get the recognition. He had crazy stats, but still didn't get his tots. Then he made a move to Benfica, then to Orlando. So he had an up-and-coming run as well. So to see Thales kind of going about the same path is something exciting to see. Will he reach that potential? Who knows? But he's here for a reason, and we do think so. But yes, that is our ones to watch for season 17. So if you guys did enjoy, please make sure to give us any feedback, comments about anything. Yes, this was a little bit longer than usual, but we kind of felt like we need to incorporate our ones to watch with our transfer talk. But yeah, again, any comments, concerns, please message me or CJ or Loco. But this is Cage alongside Loco and CJ, and we're signing off. Take care, guys.
See ya.
Peace.